Hello and welcome, Stand Up World number 64. We have a great show for you today. I hope you're up for it. Say hello to Patrick Arnold, the
Hey,
producer.
Mike, how's it going?
I'm doing great. How are you, Patrick?
I'm
Everything
good.
good?
Everything's
Everything
great.
good?
Love this episode today. I'm excited for it.
Yeah, one of the best. One of the best. Had a good morning. Got into a little political argument with my daughter this morning, which was okay. I'm all right.
About what?
She's just she's one of she gotta love her, like a lot of people. She has intermittently flashing whether or not she believes women, depending on whether it's convenient to her politics. But I said it's okay because you know what, honey? There's only one place in the world where everyone really believes all women. Because that's what she said to me. Dad, you got to believe all women. So the only place that people believe all women is in a bar late at night around midnight. Okay? All of a sudden, everybody there believes all women. Oh,
Right.
you are so right, lady. That is so true. Really? Tell me more. Okay? Because women don't even believe all women. Okay? There are nuns alone in the convent when they're hanging out talking about, that bitch is lying. But my daughter, there's certain women she's believing right now that I don't believe. But I love her. I love her so much. Anyway, that's either here nor there. It's called being a dad. You don't talk politics with your family because in the end, you're never going to change their mind. Never. Never talk religion because who the hell knows? Anyway, we have a great show. I'm babbling again. I just started and I'm babbling, and I'm already babbling. We have Fahim Anwar, who is so talented. He really is. I love this guy. When I went back to do the Comedy Store documentary, certain people turned me on to certain people. Adam Egget, one of the producers who was the talent coordinator at the time, said to me, "You've got to see Fahim." And Bert and I, my son, we came back to the club that night and we watched this guy, and he was so good. And he's just so talented and he works so hard. And he's got a new special out called House Money. And he's an interesting guy. He's a very interesting guy. And the footnote is after we did this interview, by the way, because this was taped a little bit earlier, YouTube for some reason messed with his demonetization or anything, and he did a very cool note. He gave a message about it, put up on YouTube, and so there's two versions: one a longer version and one where he changed one joke. And then I did a thing saying, you know what, YouTube, let's make sure you know the rules. Everyone knows the rules, and I got a lot of calls about it, but Fahim's a great guy. But let's watch the interview. Fahim Anwar, how are you, buddy?
I'm
Good to
great,
see you.
Mike. Same. Thanks for having me. Apologize for the hair. I didn't comb my hair before today's Zoom. I
I
fucked up.
apologize for mine. A lot of it fell out on the way to work today.
We all have our own individual problems, and I forget that. So,
Say hello to Patrick Arnold, the producer of the show
what's up,
extraordinaire
Patrick?
out of Boston.
Makes sense. Repping
And
the hat.
Fahim, man, I am so happy to have you on because there's so much I want to ask you. You're such a talented
Hey,
fucker.
you're nice, man. Thanks, dude. I like
You're
being
such
called a
a
talented
talented
fucker.
fucker, man. I, you know, and
Uh,
what I like about you is you have like ants in your pants, but not in a bad way. In a
Good
cool.
ants. Good, like
You
cool,
have
hip
good ants in your
ants.
pants,
Yeah, but
but
they're
you
ants
do.
nonetheless.
What did you? Yeah. There are
Yeah.
ants in your pants nonetheless, but you do. You always just seem like you got to be doing something and finding some new thing and create a character or a new type of special or you're not sitting around waiting for the call, or get a job. You just go.
Yeah.
I'm doing my. I'm looking for my voice and my thing, and just making it happen, and loving what I do. When we did that documentary, I remember we used a little piece of a Instagram thing you did about a guy
Oh yeah.
auditioning for the Invisible Man, and
Yeah.
it was so interesting. I just thought, God, that must. It looked simple, but it wasn't simple, right?
Yeah, I mean, that's the beauty of comedy is that if you have a good idea, it doesn't take much, and then it's just execution of that idea. And that little IG video, which is funny that it made the documentary. That's just like a way I was keeping busy during the pandemic when everything was locked down. Like I still like doing sketches, I still like being creative, and I had watched The Invisible Man, and it's like a horror movie and dramatic, but there's a scene where the invisible man is beating up this chick and it's supposed to be serious, but like I was laughing so hard. And I go, I have to audition. I have to do a video where I'm auditioning to do this scene. It was just so silly getting beat up by someone who's not even there.
That's
And
really.
then it played out pretty well. And yeah, it was fun.
Yeah, I love your energy when I see at the comedy store or improv. You just feel like it's someone that really likes what he's doing.
It sounds so simple, you know. I tell young comics sometimes because you can get so granular and in your own world and so self-serious about stand-up comedy that you forget that this is supposed to be fun. Like what we get to do, the jokes that when we come up with it brought levity to us, and you're gonna have a way better chance of it porting over to an audience if you are in that emotional state as well. Whereas if it just feels like a job and it's like, well, also it also depends on styles, but I've just found that like that's a color that works on me. I'm positive. I get giddy when I get like I like sharing an idea with an audience and finding it in the room together. So yeah, that's just like a speed that works well for me, and yeah, I just love stand-up. I love a new idea. I love sharing a joke with an audience.
Years ago, I was backstage at the improv, about to go on, and I was all kind of tweet. I don't know, and I was talking to some Marshall Warfield, I believe it was. She said, what's wrong with you? I go, I don't know, I'm nervous, or I don't know. Or I'm like, I don't know, I just feel like, don't really want. She goes, anyone force you to do this? Anyone forcing you to do this? I
Right.
said, no, no. She goes, well, so why are you doing it? I want to do it.
Yeah, you have to remind yourself sometimes.
You remember that on the way to the stage. This is what you want to do. You're doing what you want to do.
Also, that's
Yeah,
a good lesson, like, when you first get past at the Comedy Store, you get these super, super late time slots. You're going up at 1:40 AM, and people take it one of 2 ways. Some people get that time slot and they have negative energy. There's 5 people in the crowd and they're like, "What's the point? This is stupid. I should be getting earlier time slots." And then they don't have a good set because they just have that sort of negative energy. But if you remind yourself that even if it's 5 people, those 5 people are there and they wanna be there. They wouldn't be in those seats if they don't wanna be there. So, if you and then also there's no stakes because there's 5 people and you can just have sort of sleepover energy fun with these 5 people in the OR. For real. Some of the best sets I've ever had in my life are just with 6 people in the OR at 140. And it teaches you to be grounded, it teaches you to be human, it teaches you to not that there's zero stakes, that your material isn't gold. Like, yeah, material's great and you need it, but when there's 5 people, you got to be a human first, and then you can weave in and out. It teaches you how to be a three-dimensional comedian and not just a guy
yeah,
who can
that's right.
play.
That's right. And I think that's a really important thing to know. It's so much more than the jokes. It's so
Yes.
much, the fluidity, which I think is something that you have so well. Where did you grow up? Did you grow up here in LA?
Nah,
In
Seattle. But
Seattle?
then yeah, so I did stand up out there for 4 years, and then I moved to LA, Long Beach, and then I was, like, driving up to Hollywood and stuff, so first 4 Seattle and then LA.
That's great. And was there a big comedy scene up in Seattle?
It was great. Yeah, I mean, it was a great stand-up scene. It wasn't, but it's tucked away, so it's not like a Boston or San Francisco where you can get good, and if you're good, you can make waves while you're getting good. Even if you're good in Seattle, you're just too tucked away. It's not gonna make a ripple all the
What
way
does that
down
mean,
to
tucked
LA.
away? Is it like a gated community where you only
No, no,
certain
it's
people
a
allowed
but
to come see you? No.
yeah, no, Pacific Northwest, it's just we're out there. We're just never in the conversation with, there's East Coast, like San Francisco is close enough to LA where if you're moving and shaking, like I think people were talking about like Ali Wong even before she kind of popped, just because San Francisco is close enough, like Moshe as well. And some Boston guys, they're killing it in Boston, and New York hears about them. But there was nothing like that in Washington State. It's just so far away. Word wouldn't travel to LA. So it's kind of nice that it's tucked away. You get good in darkness, like nobody knows. It's a great scene. There's enough clubs and enough stage time to get good. And then you move to a larger city, a larger market, knowing how to write a
Didn't
joke.
didn't Josh wasn't Josh
Wolf?
Wolf from up there?
Yeah,
Or
yeah,
didn't
I
he?
think so. I don't know if
Yeah.
he started. Did he start there? I know he spent some time
No,
in
he's not.
Seattle.
But I think he went up there for a while. And Joey Diaz was
Oh
up
yeah,
there.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
That's interesting. It's always interesting to me what each some of these towns scenes. So you came down here. What year did you come down to?
Let's see. I think 2008. I got a job in Long Beach, so that's how I was able to come out here. I got a job at Boeing in Long Beach.
When I came back to do the Comedy Store documentary, got turned on to a few people. Like Rogan said, you got to see Joey Diaz and Adam Egget. He was like, "You've got to see Fahim.
Uh,
You've got to see Fahim." I went, "What's a Fahim?"
what's a,
He
what
goes,
creature are you speaking of?
"Yeah,
And
come
is he
tonight at 9:30."
nocturnal?
He goes, "Come tonight at 9:30. You've got." And I remember sitting in the back. My son and I, we watched you. We laughed so hard.
Well, that's
And
nice. I had no
yeah,
idea that was the behind the scenes happenings of that. You
yeah,
never know who's in the room, you just do your sets. It's that dark original room, and you have no idea who's in and out of that room. Like I've gotten off stage, and then someone's like, "Oh, Chris Rock was like laughing in the bucket seats." I'm like, "What? What the fuck?"
yeah,
if you knew that when you were on stage, you'd be like,
yeah. The other thing is, I love, I like, I was watching. If you're listening, and you got to go to Fahim's YouTube page. I love some of like the videos you made as that character Lance,
"Oh yeah, yeah, yeah."
and I mean, a couple of them are really good. I mean, who's the guy? Who's the guy that's doing the songs?
Which song? Which song are you talking about? Does
We
Lance
did
do a song?
four, I think. Yeah, yeah. One there.
Oh, the music videos you mean?
Yeah. That's the one.
Well, so I mean, that's just songs that I like that I was like, "Oh, it'd be cool if Lance made a music video for these." So these aren't sanctioned by anybody. These are unofficial music videos. This is
Wow.
just this is
Is that
just
you
Lance.
singing in them?
No, no, these are some other great musicians, and this is just Lance dancing to them and stuff. But they're pretty high production value. There's like special
They're
effects on them and shit.
so good, so
Yeah.
good, and you just so go for it. It's
Oh, you
just like,
have to. You have to. You have to embody the character, or it doesn't work. You can't half step it. That's the beauty of it. You just sort of show up. Whereas when I do jokes, I have to remember what jokes I'm doing, what goes into what bit. When I do Lance, is like you become the person, and then that's the comedy of it. Not like what's the funniest answer. It's just like you're the guy.
oh, I know, and that's what I love. I mean, I was talking about those videos because I just thought they were so good. But even when you're doing Lance on stage, being funny, it's you're right. It's everything's funny, but it doesn't have to be, and that
Yeah,
kind of makes it
yeah,
more
yeah.
funny.
It's what that guy would say in that moment. Sometimes the answer I give to a question isn't the funniest, but it's with the speed in which I respond to it and like the sincerity. It's just there's levels of absurdity to it. And some people, I think I do it pretty well where like half the crowd thinks it's a real dude and then half the crowd gets it. So then that's another layer. Like some people are having fun seeing other people be like, what the fuck is this?
I was totally thinking that when I was watching it in that documentary you made about him, and I was thinking some people think that this is a real guy and this is this guy's act, and
Yeah.
some people know this is Fahim, and
Yeah, yeah.
it's very
And
similar to
I
what,
love both of those people.
yeah.
That makes
Now,
it way better for me.
let me just say, I don't know if you know the whole point thing I'm doing with this podcast. It's actually, I'm trying, first of all, trying to give Patrick a job. He's fresh out of prison. So
Yeah.
that's the
Welcome
most
back to
important.
society, dude. Glad to have
Yeah.
you back.
But, but I, it's just the stand up world. When I came back to it to do the documentary, it was really weird because I was a young guy who was obsessed with it. And I lived, ate, slept, and breathed it for so many years. And then I just walked away. And then it came back, and I'm so impressed with it, all the different roads and the different. And I just thought I want to do a podcast of people that are really using the world. You know,
Yeah.
Leno used to have this great joke about how many when they were giving back the Panama Canal. How many people are upset that we're giving back the Panama Canal? And the whole room was quiet. He goes, okay, now how many of you are actually have gone down and used the canal? You know,
Yeah,
but
yeah. Less
but
people.
there are a lot of comedians that but so many of them, and you kind of embody this kind of group of comics that I really feel are using the world the right way. Like you just put out this new special, which
Yeah.
is fantastic,
Thanks so much. Yeah,
and I think
house
you did
money.
something really smart in your special. It's a great special. But I love the way you just opened with a teaser.
Yeah. Well, okay, so you talk about me just being in the comic world and one of the guys and all that. I think part of that is just by the way I've bounced around in the industry and stuff. I was just like never the guy they gave a show to. I was never the guy they would give specials to. I think I'm just like this weird demographic black hole. And I just love stand up. I just love jokes. And I think that's a harder demo to kind of attach to anything. And so instead of just waiting for the call to be the guy, I'd rather put all my work into stand up. And I'm a club rat. I love writing new jokes all the time. I love doing stand up, and I'm a control freak. And I just feel like also I have this engineering background. I was good at school. It feels like you're moving the boat forward by just concentrating on your craft. And then once social media came around and like, oh, I could put clips up on Instagram and I'm gaining a following that way. I'm putting specials out on YouTube. So I'm circumventing the traditional way that it used to be done. And it was never even there for me, the traditional way. So it's like it seems like, oh, that's cool, you're doing all this stuff, but like, what else was I going to do? Just like sit on my hands? Especially if you have it in you and you just have this burning fire and you love the craft. There's no other way than what I'm doing right now. It makes total sense. And it's great because I can see a return on investment. Like, oh, okay, I put up clips, I get new followers, it gets shared around. I do the road. People are like, oh, I saw you from this reel. I saw you from your first special hat trick. So you're able, and also it's becoming more valuable than traditional Hollywood. More people are watching YouTube specials nowadays than something on like Epics or even HBO. HBO is this glamour brand, but in terms of how many eyeballs you can see, Shane Gillis's special is probably watched several times over more so than an HBO special, where it's like that was the thing back in the
Or
day.
Netflix. Or
Or
Netflix.
Netflix. That's the other thing too, is like if it doesn't go, that your Netflix special, if it doesn't propagate in the first week, it gets buried. You're never gonna see it again.
uh,
Whereas if it lives on YouTube, you do a podcast and then you kind of get kicked around in the algorithm a little more because you're like, oh, okay, he's on Bad Friends, and then they'll suggest your special. So it plays nice, a little nicer in that ecosystem.
Absolutely, absolutely. In fact, the Netflix algorithm is very harsh. It's very
Yeah,
harsh.
you have a few days to pop off, and if not, you're just it's like thrown into lava. Good luck finding it.
People don't realize that, but it's very harsh, and it also does not play on people's home screens that don't regularly watch stand-up comedy a lot. You
Hmm.
know, so the point is, there is a new world to it, and there's a new math to it, a new science to it, and I feel like you understand it. I feel like you're the perfect guy for it. You're
Well, those
today's
are
man, damn it.
I guess. Well, YouTube doing stand up and kind of hitting YouTube pretty hard with stand up, that feels like the new record store where a
Yeah,
lot of young kids and stuff, they love discovering new comedians. They like taking ownership of their consumption. Back in the day, Comedy Central just shot these people into your mouth and
yeah.
like you know what I mean? Like that there's some great comics, don't get me wrong. Like I discovered so many great
No,
comics, but
it's too late. You can't pull that
no,
back.
no, 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 no. But that was the only way to discover people. There was one way. And now with YouTube, you'll discover all these other types of comedy and all these other great comedians. And I think it's an exciting time if you're a comedy fan and a
Well,
comedian being able to
just to
reach
go
people.
back to the specials real quick.
Sure.
You hat trick was really great, and I loved it. And it to me, we've talked about it, and you I, I liked it because, but it had a hook. You were going to play all the three rooms
Yeah.
of the store and everything, but it didn't have the that this one does. Because
Yeah.
and I think you did something that I really haven't seen anyone do yet. Just the special opens with
With the joke.
a joke. You're in a routine.
Yeah.
You're in a routine, and then you do the routine, and then it kills, and then boom, playing out, and then you do it. Then you start the show,
Yeah.
and that's bold and it's smart. It's internet smart. It's
Yes.
marketing smart.
That's what
It's
it was because, my last special, I'm proud of it, but it was more artsy. I start with the preamble as to what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna be and it's shot really well, and, like, you show the different rooms, the OR and the slider shot, the belly room, so
yes,
it's cool in that way, but when you watch the metrics, you see the drop off, like, so many people they don't even wanna watch that. So, there's this
that's what it
expectation when
was.
people click on a thumbnail, they just wanna see content out the gate. So, the name of the game with, content nowadays is retention. So I have this great special that I shot, but if I lose them in the first 30 seconds, like what's the point? So in
Well,
my mind,
it's like what I just want to say. That's why I think it was so brilliant because sometimes comedians, myself, we are so competing with the past and our friends and other things. We're not playing to the moment and
the new game,
the
yes.
new meat and the new game. And it's exactly it. When I started directing specials for Netflix, I had these ideas for these opening montages and things like that. And Robbie Paul go, we don't do that. We don't do that.
Yeah,
We just start with the guy and introduce
yeah,
the guy and let
totally.
him walk on stage.
Whenever whenever
You
I
know,
edit now, my mindset is I just picture somebody watching this and their thumb is half an inch from the screen. And so if it's playing out, is that enough air for them to do this? And if so, I don't need it because I'm
that's
trying to have
right.
them watch the content. So that's why
And
this special I open up on a joke and then I go to the title credits super quickly. I'm getting introduced on stage. So it's not this huge lavish sketch before I get into people don't have time for that anymore.
yes. And by the way, it really works. It's because it's different, there's a reason for
Yes,
it.
yeah.
And I thought this is a guy who understands the medium in the moment, you know, and it's great. But not only that, I think it's some of your best material ever. I think it's
Thanks.
I think you're moving at a different pace, and you're having fun.
Mhm.
There's some of those bits, man. Some of those bits.
I was a
Usually,
little nervous because this is just a traditional special, and nowadays you have to have so many other hooks and stuff. And there was a moment where I was like, am I going to insert sketches? I got to think of some other thing. But I'm like, I'm a pure stand up. I like these jokes. It's 58 minutes long, which is supposed to be too long. But I'm like, I like it. Let me just put this out as like, especially after doing Hat Trick, because Hat Trick I was doing a bit of a gimmick going to different rooms because I needed to draft off of the lore of the store because nobody knew who I was. And I wanted to kind of put myself on the same platform as my peers. I wanted people to see me bringing Theo up, Jesselnick bringing me up, me bringing Marin up, just to show that like I'm one of the guys. You just may not know of me yet. So I was drafting off of the store and doing all the three rooms is kind of a novel concept, but it was calculated and premeditated. And this is just like a standalone, no gimmick special, all jokes. And I go, did I fuck up by not doing anything else? But I like that
not at
people
all. Not
I
at
like
all.
that people are responding to it.
I think that's the concept, and it works. And you not only you edited it that way, and if you had cut to other shtick or things, because a guy like you can always. This is what I love about the world. You're a guy that can do a 45 minutes of little sketches to
Yeah.
put a little sketch show.
Yeah.
Like, or eventually you're gonna do an hour of just Fahim masturbates. And by the way, that will sell.
I can't last that long, man. It's gonna be
No,
it's
no,
gonna be a minute long.
I'm talking about 15 different segments.
Oh, gotcha. So like Hat Trick, but for jerking off.
Yeah, exactly.
Gotcha. Just me jerking off in different rooms of the Comedy Store for OnlyFans.
You're thinking small. I'm thinking of you jerking off at different comedy clubs around
Yeah.
the world.
No, it's Madison Square Garden. Just
Yeah,
different seats. I go, whoa, this guy jerked off in the garden.
it's like a
He's
drone
huge.
shot. A
Yeah.
drone
Just jerking off in the round. Like,
Yeah.
whoa, this guy.
But I think this one you just it's just like, and
Yeah,
I mean,
also too, what I like about it is I wanted to put this out just almost like a little flag. Like, there's not a lot of guys who can just do 58 minutes like that, and to show just almost like a 4 minute mile or something. Like, okay, this is a guy who can do that thing. Like, not that I'm
yeah.
gonna do that every year and do the same. Like, maybe I'll get creative with some other ones, but it's kind of nice to plant your flag in the comedy sand and just be like, okay, he's a dude who could do that, and not everyone could do that, you know?
The other thing I'll say for him is I even though we have to call them specials, I've been saying for a while now, they're more like albums to me.
Mm.
They're like they're what when I started. I'm friends with a lot of singer songwriters, and I always envied them because they could put out a new album every time they had an idea, a group of material, or concept, or what to say, and it's kind of the reason why I left and I went into to writing and directing films because it was I like put out a movie every 18 months, and I could just change it up, and when I had something new to say, I'd write a new movie, and but I think that these are specials is kind of a word left over from that we took from network television and the Jack Benny special or the
Yeah.
whatever. It's really, and so each one can have a different vibe and a concept and an energy to it. And I think that's good. I think, I think you playing into that, you'll do very well with that.
Yeah, just to treat them as albums or like, okay, I'm talking about this type of stuff in this hour. And yeah, it's fun, even as a creative, just to treat the special that way instead of just a spaghetti of jokes, like a
Like
grab
you
bag.
mentioned Marin, and I'm friends with Marin, but I've never been a huge fan of his. I like him a lot. I think he's a great podcaster.
Mhm.
But then he did that last special, and I'd seen all his other specials, but that last special was like in a galaxy far, far away. It was so brilliant.
I agree. I saw that, and I saw him in the hallway at the store, and the compliment I had to give him was, what happened to him with his girlfriend passing away and stuff. I go,
Yeah,
he very well could have done like a more one man showy type thing and and marinated on that and made it emotional, and it still would have been great, but it would have been playing to this recent trend for it's like a subsect of comedy where it's going. But what I love is he just did traditional stand up, and he talked about it in a way where he was doing a weekend at a club or something. So it was masterful in the way that he could talk about something of that gravity in a regular stand up set. And I go, that's what I was impressed with. Like he didn't pivot into like one man show land. And
Yes.
he goes, that's the gig, man. That's what we do.
Well, not only that, what I loved about it was he was able to deal with the elephant in the room. This was a guy that was just suffered a devastating loss, but he also was able to like you say, code it in an hour of this great stand-up comedy, and it was some of it. It was just like beating himself up with a bat at the end, and just it was just such great stand-up.
Yeah.
And the biggest thing that I felt about it is he had worked that set out so hard and well, and so that just tells me, you could be a comic and it's a progression. You can do really, really good specials, and then you have one album that comes out, and I think that's going to be a landmark special. Uh,
Mm.
from dark to bleak, I think it's called, or bleak to dark.
Yeah.
You
Yeah, I
know,
forgot what it was called, but yeah, it's great.
and I think that's going to go down as in history as that'll be one of the big specials, so it's a really interesting time, I do think that it doesn't matter what label puts the album out,
Yeah.
because and I love
Schultz was talking about that. Schultz was saying people don't really know where they saw the thing anymore. They just know whether they liked it or not. Like it all gets fired up on a TV nowadays. So whether it's YouTube, whether it's Netflix, whether it's Amazon, especially younger generations, they don't have these distinctions between
no.
content. They just know what they like.
Well, not even listen. Hey, man, I'm 65. I watch your thing in my living room on the TV set, just like
Yeah.
I would have watched any
Yeah.
movie.
I do the same thing. I fire up YouTube. I probably watch YouTube more than any other streaming service. It's the fact that you can just fire it up on a TV now has been great for comedy because now there's not all these barriers to the content.
Yeah. Now let me ask you. Here's the other thing. What, like, if you could shut your eyes and say, "This is what I want to do." What's your like biggest dream in the industry? What?
Okay, if I could just do these two things, this would be my dream. Just continue to do stand up, put out specials, and just continue to do stand up, and then have my own sketch show. If I could just do those two things in perpetuity, I don't need anything else. Like movies, TV, that's just icing, whatever. But like, I live and breathe stand up and I live and breathe sketch. Those just come to me. So if I could do those, I'm playing with house money. You like that?
Yeah, look at you.
Yeah.
Look at you. You know,
I called the special house money because I really don't need this special to do anything. I had a lot emotionally invested in Hat Trick because I was trying to break through. I felt like I was trying to play catch up with so many of my peers. I felt like if you knew comedy a lot in LA, you would know who I am, but consciousness wise, you would have no idea who I was. So like Hat Trick was me trying to like splash. And it did put me on the map a bit, like in terms of my money is better on the road, like I'm getting better deals. So my life is better post Hat Trick. But house money, life is good. I don't need it to do anything. So I was just doing it for the love. And I was touring for a year and a half. I'm done with the material and I wanted to take a picture of it.
it's really great. It's
Yeah.
really great. I look at you, but those to me are such doable goals. You could be doing stand
Hey,
up.
you don't know how many no's I've gotten on my sketch show, Mike. No one will let it happen.
Do you know how many no's I got on every movie I've ever made?
I
I'm
know.
making a movie in the spring that I've been trying to make for 10 years.
I
You
think
know,
people, if there's any young artists and young comedians who are watching this, I always try to remind them or tell them, your favorite artists, no matter who they are, no one wanted them to happen. No
No.
one wanted Jay-Z to happen. No one wanted Kanye to happen. They all thought that they were runts and they were dumb and they were like not good. That's why I love that Kanye documentary. Watch it. It's someone who is just heralded as one of the greatest of several generations. He's playing college dropout. And they're like, what, this guy's crazy. Get him out of the office.
Yeah,
So that's standard. So don't think it's only happening to you. It's happening to everybody.
absolutely. I say that to my son all the time. I mean, I've never just written anything and they went, here you go.
Yeah.
Oh, it's finished. Is it done yet? Because we're waiting to make it.
Right.
It doesn't work that way. The world doesn't work that way. And by the way, it's always better because it took it. It had to become. You know.
Even my special now, like I made this because I've gotten so many no's throughout my life. So what am I gonna do? Just like not sit on my hands and do nothing, or just find a window to go through?
Well, I personally think anybody who's saying no to you is an idiot.
Hey, well, that's nice. Well, you're too deep into comedy. These guys are just they're on the 65th floor. They don't go to a show. They go to Montreal once a year.
No, but I love that you say that. I'm too deep into comedy. Their job is to be deep
No
into
shit. No
comedy. Their
shit.
job is to be. I'm. This is. I'm.
Yeah, you're acting like they love what they do for a living, Mike. That's not
Yeah.
how the business works.
So before I let you go, Patrick had a question for you.
Shoot.
I love you. You're one of the best joke writers in the country.
Fuck yeah. What about performers? Come on, give me that. I always hear writers. I want to be the best performer.
No, one of the best stand-ups overall. Without
Yeah.
and I think you are one of the most strategic stand-ups that I've at least like heard or listened to, in the sense that you just really work on your material. And I don't know, like just strategic is the only word that comes to mind. So I wanted you to give some tough love to maybe your younger self, or like a younger comic who might be working his way up in the clubs, or her way up in the clubs. Is not like an open micer, but like someone who's kind of got their foot established into a scene and just like really wanting to get that next level.
You can't skip steps. You're not going to get ahead by going to a bunch of parties. You have to get on stage. There's no shortcut. When you see a comic on stage, you see Bill Burr. It's like when you open up a tree and you see the rings. You just see a guy and you know that's like, okay, he's 25 years in, he's 30 years in, he's 12 years in. I could see someone on stage and kind of approximate how long they've been doing stand up. So there's just no shortcut to stage time. And also, some people are afraid to write new material, like they're addicted to killing, or they want to do well all the time. Don't want to do well so much that you never go outside yourself and grow as an artist. If you're just trying to kill, you're doing the same 5 minutes for 4 years. You're like trapped in ice. You're Encino Man at this time. You know what I mean? Like you're not doing what the art of stand up is. You're supposed to experience life. You're supposed to talk about it. And I know it may seem daunting to try new material, but you have to find safe spaces for you to be able to try the material. Know what shows you can do the new material on. Like if you're showcasing at the Improv, bring the hits. You're trying to make first impressions. But if it's some bar show in Highland Park, by all means, pull the paper out, try the idea. So know what to do where, and set up systems. Like this is where I do the A material. This is where I get to try my new ideas and water all the plants. Yeah. Strategic.
And also, just the button on it, as I will say, for those of you in LA, Fahim regularly does a thing called Fahim's New Material shoot
Or
night.
Fahim works on stuff. Fahim works on stuff and
Fahim-
his friends drop by. So
Yeah.
that's an example of a safe space that I made for myself to be able to try a bunch of new material and not it be so daunting, because like I can't do that much new material on a Friday or Saturday at the Comedy Store. People get babysitters. It's a Friday or Saturday. It's the Sunset Strip. But when I do Fahim works on stuff, it's in the belly room. They're my fans. Like they know, they want to see the process. The show is called Fahim Works on Stuff, so
And
they
when
have
would the next one
mitigated
of those
expectation.
be? Do you know when the
I
next
do it.
show is?
I normally do it every month. I'm not doing it this month because I've been busy traveling around and stuff, but I think it'll kick back up again in April. So
Okay.
it'll be in the belly rooms. If you look at
Fahim
the
works on
comedy store,
stuff,
yeah.
and you that's folks. If you're listening or watching, you can. That's where you can see him masturbating too. Quite a bit.
Yes, I open and I close with it. So there's enough time for my refractory
Restart.
period. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So it's the tickets are a little more expensive for the front row because you're in the splash zone. But but I get tested beforehand, so don't worry if it
Of course
lands
you
on you.
do.
It's just good fun for everybody.
Of course you do.
There's ponchos if you want it, but most people go without the poncho.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fahim, you're a good man. You
Hey
really
man,
are.
ditto.
You're so talented. I really am.
Hey man, come on. Do we
Glad to know
Hollywood each
you.
other? Let's
Glad
Hollywood
to,
each other.
glad to know you, buddy.
Mike, ditto. Likewise. Thanks for having me, dude. Thanks for watching the special. Thanks for
Yeah,
shouting it
love
from the
you.
rooftops. I appreciate it.
I'll talk to you soon, okay?
Sounds good.
All right, Fahim Anwar. House money. Love it. So, that was it. That was fun, right?
He's great. He's great. He's hilarious.
All right, great. Listen, if you're in the LA area, this Monday night, I'm at the Laugh Factory with Dane Cook and a few other great people doing Mike Binder and Friends at the Laugh Factory. And March 30th, I'm at the Ice House doing a show back again at the Ice House. Saturday, March 30th at 7:30 p.m. And if you're in the Detroit area, April 21st, I'm at the Royal Oak Theater with Heather J., Trey Stewart, Dave Landau, Rob Schneider. We're all on the bill supporting RFK Jr., a night of support for RFK Jr., who will be there. My buddy Bobby Kennedy will be on stage, and there'll be an after party you can go to. Go to, let me see, Kennedy24.com, Night of Laughter, Detroit, to get tickets. We'll show the thing up here, but that's going to be a good show, right? April 21st. Anyway, that's it. Thanks again for your support and listening, watching. Apple, make sure to comment, like, subscribe, all these things. Thanks again. And thank Patrick for doing such a good job producing this show that over 11 people are watching it weekly.
Routinely.
No, that's not it. That's a joke. We're doing great. We're kicking ass. Thanks, folks.
And we love every single one of you. So
That's right.